Let me say good evening from Liberia. Welcome to your program, Spoon Talk Business. And we are live right here on Spoon 107.5 FM. We are live on Fabric 101.1 FM. We are also live on Spoon TV. We are live on Fabric TV. And we are live on Super TV. We are also on YouTube. And that is Spoon Talk Live. So you can follow all of our handles. You can also share the show, please, so that you understand what this program is about. In case you just tuned in for the first time today, let me say good evening from Liberia. My name is Lorena Henry. So sorry, 9 minutes signing in, but we are here to serve you. And so if you are there, entrepreneur, business person, whatever it is that you do, this is your program. Phone Talk Business. It's time to talk business. It's time to sell businesses, entities, corporations that you need to know about. Yeah, getting sold right here on Spoon Talk Business. Let me take a few from my end. I'm right here in Spoon Studio, 107.5. We are also live on Spoon TV, like I said earlier. We're going to be having Madam Say Docio, who's going to be our guest for today. We're going to lecture about her a little bit and bring in Dr. Francine with Richardson, who has already, always been there, always on time, more than on time. Dr. Richardson would like to say good evening to you. Hope you're doing good and you look fabulous.
Hello, Lorena. How are you? Hello, Liberians. How are you guys doing?
We are okay. Liberia is cool.
That's good. That's good
So,
to
I know
know.
you've been following activities and you bring them to us tonight, but right now you have your guests coming on. Say it dope. But
Absolutely.
firstly, how have you been, Dr. Richardson? How is your week going so far? In fact, the week
Well,
has
well, I missed you guys for number one. I miss Liberia. Home is always home. Second, it's been a very busy week. I think I share with you privately that I've been doing some stuff with the job that pays the bill. Yeah, so I had to focus on that. But I'm glad to be here today. I want all Liberians that are watching and those of you who are in Radio Land to please call a friend or share the show. We're going to have Madam Saya Docio on today. You can't miss this. She's always a breath of fresh air. She always brings positivity to you. So I don't care if you're having a bad day or not so good day, it's important that you listen to her today. I enjoy listening to her. It's such a pleasure for me to listen to her. So besides that, Lorena, I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Well, thank God for life, and good health, because some people are alive, but they are ill. And for me, I'm healthy and I'm alive. So I'm grateful.
That's that's
Once I can wake up in the
yeah,
morning, get on my feet and get out there, yeah, I'm
yes.
good.
That
As
sounds
much as we want,
strong.
everything will be okay, it might not be 100%, but we just want it to get a little better. you
Yes.
know,
Yes.
talking about this side of the earth that we are, this side of the world, and where you are is
Mm,
completely two different places and ideologies and, societies, but we are
yes.
still.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. But I want everyone to please share the show. This is Spoon Talk Business. This is where we come to promote businesses in Liberia. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter whether you sell pepper, whether you work in a mechanic shop, whether you sell hair products, whether you sell health products. It doesn't matter for us. We are here to promote the business sector in Liberia. We want to improve the economy. We want to get you accustomed to talking about your business or even advertising your business online. I've heard Lorena say, that's wait for our guests to come in. I heard Lorena say to me, many of you feel slightly intimidated or slightly embarrassed to come here to talk about your business. But hey, Lorena has a wonderful skill. She will talk to you, she will take pictures of your business, she will design your platform, and we can show your business here and talk about it and expose you to the rest of Liberia. If you're selling something in Grandida or in Nimba, and the rest of Liberians don't know what you're selling, it could be something great. It could be something with a lot of attraction. A lot of Liberian people would like to have it, but just because they don't know that you exist or you have that, so they won't know where you are. So this is what we do: we get you connected to the rest of Liberians. So this is the place to come. We have a huge platform. We have radio stations. People in the radio land are listening. People in the diaspora are listening. They may not be listening now, but a lot of them tune in when we look at our statistics. A lot of them tune in later, as they're going by their daily activities. So again, I want to just invite you over here. And is our guest in the back yet, Lorena? Any contact to her? She's coming.
I haven't seen her yet, but we have another guest that is also going to be coming on, besides Say It. But, we can just, you have her information. You have, interviewed her before. She's the one calling. Doc, please continue. Let me talk to her.
Sure, yes. Sure, like today, as I said to you, you cannot miss this program. Miss Saya Dosil is a breath of fresh air. She, if you ask me, everything political, but she presents politics in a positive light. She presents politics in a way that encourages you to just do something, no matter where you are. If we all just do something a little bit about our country, Liberia, we will see some great results. We can't sit down and feel overpowered. So this is why I love when Miss Seal, when Miss Dosil comes over here. She is a Liberian. She has a school in Bassa. She's educating the next generation of Liberians. She is very, very involved in her faith. She uses her faith as a motivation tool as well as uses it in other areas of her life. So I'm appealing to you to join the show today. You will have something to take away from this show. You will be taking something away from this show. Yes, later on we'll come back and talk the politics of Liberia in a different way, because I believe politics presents itself in a different form, fashion. But this time around, we have, and our next guest who's coming on is Chris Dennis. Mr. Dennis has multiple businesses. He's going to come here and share what he does for the Liberian people and for people across the world. He's very meticulous. He enjoys supporting Liberians. And I'm so glad that you come here and watch us today. Um, yes, Lorena, I see you back.
Yeah. She. I think her time went backward or something that happens there in the U.S. where time changes.
Yes,
Normally our 6 p.m. here should be 2 p.m. over there. Yes, like the
yes,
rich.
yes,
But she's saying that 2 p.m. is 25 minutes or 20 minutes from now on her side. But she's 10 minutes away from her house and she's going to sign in as soon as possible, maybe in the next 10 minutes.
okay,
So, yeah, because she has been having a link to sign in, but she
okay,
didn't go online. Yeah.
yeah.
So we're
All
gonna
right,
have her.
we'll wait
She
for
was
her.
here early. She was here last year. Like she came to Liberia with her husband Francis CEO, and
Hmm.
then they have this man Annie or somebody man Zoe
Education.
orphanage and school, and she has different programs for children
Yes,
in Grandmaster County. You remember we
yes, I
featured her.
do. I remember her. She's a powerhouse. She, she says what she does what she says. I do remember that she is supporting her, she and her husband, and some of her great friends that she does a great fundraiser in the United States. She supports the next generation of children in Liberia, and that is such an important task because one day all of us will be in the past, will be perhaps dead and gone, and we need the next generation to be able to let Liberia continue. So she does this because she loves people, she loves children, she loves education. She does this because of her faith. There's numerous uh, motivations she gets from her faith. So she's going to be joining us. She's running late. In the US, we have some challenges with the time change and the zones and all of that stuff. But if you just joining us, I just want to tell you thank you for joining us. This show is to promote people who are supporting Liberia. This show is to promote the business sector of our Liberia. This show is to promote the economy. This show is to present our Liberia in a positive light. We always present Liberia in a positive light, but this one is to focus on businesses and how people are contributing to our country. The economy is almost like the machine. It's like the wheel that makes the government turns and things happen in Liberia. So, Lorena, just join in whenever you want to.
Yeah, since we are looking at the business sector, we also trying to talk to some government entities because some of them are is like business. Like for example, if you have the agriculture minister coming on to talk about some of the productivity of the agriculture ministry, what they are doing to make sure they can have food security in this country, helping to raise more farmers and increase farmers and teach them about the land. We need the engineers and all of them at the University of Liberia. I was told that the agriculture college is free, to encourage people so that we grow more food. So we have been engaging them so that they can come on and discuss with us about some of the activities of the ministry. That is not political, it's business aspect, to be able to educate some of the farmers and want to be farmers, even the fishmongers and the fishermen. Before, back then in agriculture, we nobody paid much attention to the fishmongers. You understand it? The females that fish, they are
Hmm.
referred to as fishmongers. And then
Okay.
the fishermen are the men, they are the ones that they always, they have always had the attention. But now you see that there are a huge sum of fishmongers now in Liberia. You go into the counties and nearby towns and villages, or even rural Monserrato, you see that there are fishmongers. They are the ones fishing for the market, So all of these, you should come on to be able to explain to them about how they can benefit and how it's beneficiary to the country. So it's important for us to have some of them here. And even when it comes to climate change, Liberians take it like joke right now. That which is when you talk about climate change, they can be wondering, what are you talking about? You understand? So maybe the EBA could come in and just talk about how it's important to preserve the climate And if you want to greet before I start bringing our morning show on Spoon Talk Business,
Yes.
so you want to greet some of your online viewers and
Sure,
we'll take calls
absolutely,
while
absolutely.
we're
Let's just welcome some of you and also greet you. And I want actually, Arena, I wanted us to talk about just the agriculture sector of our country, and how important it is now more than ever, considering what's going to be happening with USAID. So I see
oh, my goodness.
Miss Theodosio is in the background. Hi, how are you?
I am doing wonderful. Oh my God. You know, I had the whole time, Miss, when she said 2 o'clock, I was assuming it's 2 o'clock American time, but it's
Yeah,
okay.
that's all right. You here? I mean, you okay in your car?
I am okay. This is what the power of possibility is. You got to be multifaceted. You got to be able to pivot at any point in time. So
Awesome,
this is all
awesome.
working for me. So no
Great,
problem. Thank you all so much. Appreciate the patience.
great, great, great. Um, Miss Sarah, can I call you just Sarah, please, if it's okay with you?
Go ahead, my sister.
Yes, it's always a pleasure having you. I was just telling our audience, like, whenever I see you on social media or I see you here, you're so inspirational to me. So I'm glad that we're having this discussion on the power of possibility. So I'll just take this moment to just let you tell our viewers, our listeners, our guests, a little bit about yourself and is this message about the power of possibilities.
Thank you, Dr. Francine. You are also an inspiration. Every time I hear you, especially with your little grandson, you know, one of the things my husband always says to our older son, even though he's still trying to find himself, if you want us to live longer, please give us a grandbaby.
That's
So
right. That's
I'm
right.
sure just
Don't
having a
be,
grandbaby.
don't be surprised if he comes in here, even though I'm keeping him away. I have a little barrel behind the door, so he will come in here. But yes, thank you so much.
Yeah. So good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are listening across the world. My name is Saya Docio. I am I wear multiple hats. So just from a high level introduction perspective, I am a wife, a mother, a wife of 26 years, married to my high school sweetheart. I'm a mother with three wonderful children. I am a career woman. I am a businesswoman. I am a minister. I recently got ordained as a minister of the gospel. I am a friend, but most importantly, I am a woman of prayer. And that's the reason we're here to talk about today the power of possibilities. Uh, I recently launched my new platform called The Power of Possibilities. So imagine being a little girl, 14 years, lost your mother in a car accident that
Mm,
you witnessed firsthand.
hmm.
I watched my mother died in a car accident when I was 14 years old.
Sorry
But
to
in
hear that.
spite of all of that, experiencing the Liberian Civil War, in spite of all of that, I've been able to aspire to be all of what you see on the Power Possibility website. A mother, a wife, a career woman. I'm a senior director of risk and compliance at my job, managing a team of almost 10 people directing the risk affairs.
Mhm.
Also run a logistic company. I have my certified public accounting firm. I'm a CPA. Then my baby, the Annie Tito Memorial Foundation, pouring
Mhm.
back into Liberia, pouring back into the community, providing free Christian-based education for 600
Mhm.
children,
Mhm.
empowering women to find
Mhm.
their authentic voice, providing scholarship in the U.S. So all of that, the Lord has been impressing upon me to be able to open this platform that will allow other individuals who are on the fence and asking themselves, is it possible for me to do X, Y, Z? How is it possible? That's the reason the Power of Possibility was launched. It's a multifaceted platform that's going to allow me to provide consultation, advice, and different services to individuals like myself who are still questioning themselves with so many abilities. And God took me back to Jeremiah chapter 1, verse 5, when he called Jeremiah and said, I have work for you to do. And Jeremiah began to question God and say, hold on, God. Do you know that I am young? And God began to laugh. He says, how can you tell the maker your age? I'll produce you. And then Jeremiah says, just in case you forgot, God, I cannot speak. And the conversation gets more interesting. And God laughs because I made you. He says, I made you. I knew you before you were formed in your mother's womb. I called you. I separated you. I consecrated you. And folks, this is the brain behind the Power of Possibilities, because many of us are acting like Jeremiah in our capabilities that God has given us. We're questioning ourselves, can I do it? Am I able to do it? Am I capable of doing this? So the Power of Possibility is a platform, is a ministry in the marketplace that will allow you to be able to dig deeper in yourself through some of the consultative services that I'm going to offer, and challenge yourself to evolve and be the best person that you can be. Somebody told me the grave is full of so many capabilities that have been buried and untapped. And we do not want to take those back to the grave. I tell people every day, I will be one person when I get to heaven. God's going to put me in timeout. You know why? Because I will have done too much, what he may have asked me to do plus extra. And that's what the Power of Possibility represents. We have to tap into our deep, our inner self, and walk our full potential. I know I've said a lot. I get very emotional. I'm very passionate about the fact that everybody has so much to accomplish in this world. And we ought to challenge ourselves and our community and pour out and be our brother's keeper and help our sisters and brothers along the way. And that's what I am here to do. The Power of Possibility to help you reach your full potential.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Saya. So I'm going to give you two scenarios, okay? And this is also going to contribute to how people can attain your service, how people can tap into this website that you launch, okay? I'm talking about the person in Liberia right now. We have no electricity. They can't make their business right now. Their children are on the verge of being put out of school. And sometimes they're so worried what's going to be, what they're going to do, what's the next step. Now you have this program. How can I say I want to get this advice from Saya? I want to be able to tap into her because I'm really down right now. I mean, I don't know where to turn. So that's one scenario. Let's talk about that scenario. How would you recommend that someone in this scenario get in touch with you to seek the same kind of motivation that you're talking about, the same kind of inspiration you're talking about?
Oh, thank you, Dr. Francine. We are living in a world that is full of so much ups and downs. And I do understand the issues in Liberia because born and raised there, live up to in Liberia through the Civil War. I am from a very humble beginning, just like many of you in Liberia. Walked many days to school without a meal to look forward to, not having electricity, studying with candlelight. I can really relate to what you're saying because my mother raised 9 children. My father left when I was 4 years old, so I didn't have much of a father figure. But my mother had very little to work with. She was so determined. Couple of things, right? She believed in her faith.
Okay.
But not just faith, right? But the Bible says faith without work is dead. I
Yeah.
see a lot of us Christians born again, we're spending time in the church. It's a good thing. We're fasting, we're praying, but many
Mhm.
of us do not have actionable faith. So
Okay.
you can pray, but you
Mhm.
gotta put your faith to work. So for
Mhm.
that person in Liberia who is down and need to do something, I think a couple of ways you contact me. I'm on Facebook, but also I just launched my website,
Yes. Yes. Sorry.
www.sayasio. There's
Mhm.
a contact that says contact Saya, and we can have a one-on-one conversation. But again, I'm gonna bring a product of ministry. This is ministry in the marketplace. You are
Yes.
in Liberia. You are down. There is you have so much going on. But I can tell you, when God spoke to Moses,
Mhm.
when Moses was in the burning bush, and
Mhm.
God wanted him to go back to Egypt to tell the
Mhm.
children of Pharaoh to let his people go.
Yes.
Moses asked God, "What do I have in?" God asked Moses, "What do you have in your
Mhm.
hands?"
Mhm.
So for my folks in Liberia, what do you have to work with?
Mhm.
What do you have in your hands to work with that you can begin to multiply? It can be even a small business. It can be maybe one of your family may have sent you a $20 to send with, or there's opportunity to go clean somebody's house. The
Mhm.
opportunity to make a little business. You have to start from somewhere. It
Yes.
doesn't have to be a lot before you get started. Most times in Liberia, when I was growing up as a little child, I used to sell milk candy in school. That took me less than $1 to start that business. I would
Mhm.
make milk candy, take it
Mhm.
to school, and during the recess time, I engage my friends.
Mhm.
I begin to have lunch
Mhm.
at school. And I began to have extra money to take care of other things that my mom couldn't afford. So you got to be able to work with the little thing that's in your hands, and God is going to multiply that. So that use what you have in your hands. And also, if you need more information, as I provided my contact information in terms of how to contact me, whether by Facebook on the website, I am available to speak more on a one-on-one basis because that person might say, I have nothing in my hands, which
Yeah.
I believe is impossible because everybody has something to work with.
Yes.
If you are a woman, we have a charity organization in Liberia where we're empowering women. So if you're a woman and need opportunity, we can also put you in contact with our team in Liberia. Again,
Okay.
that's why I'm here for from a power positivity perspective. I feel everybody has the ability to do something.
That's good. So I'm going to switch over a little bit to the developed world because I know you're speaking to a wide audience, and I think your message about that possibility, the power of possibility, and having something in your hands actually cuts across mm, rivers, cultures, people. Okay, but I'm thinking about it. This woman here in the developed world, the biggest thing that we worried about here sometimes are how we're going to make ends meet. We can't, how we're going to pay bills and all of those things. And so I'm thinking about a woman, and I'm sorry, guys. I know you guys, men and women, make up their home, but sometimes the burden is on us. We may not tell you how we worry, guys, our husbands, or our, significant others, or whoever. We may not tell you sometimes, but there's a worry there. She's tried her best on the job, trying to get a raise, but keeps getting shut down. And of course, the money's not coming in. She can't make ends meet. Again, what would you say besides contacting? Because we know that you can contact www.sayasio.com, and those are you in Radio Land. I would say that again. But what would you say to that person? They're almost at the end of the rope. They're sad, they're depressed. There, you said they have something in their hands, but they can't see it.
So the couple of things you talk about a woman who feels like she's overlooked at
Yes.
her job. I think the first thing it starts with your mind. If you can whip the devil out of your mind,
Mm-hmm.
you can whip him out of your checkbook and out of your life. So it's a mind shifting. I've experienced situations where I feel like I was overlooked at job, but you gotta brave the storm and be able to face your fear. So if you are dealing with a situation where you feel like you're overlooked, there are processes in corporate America or at any job that you have to go through. First, contact your HR. Make sure that you're talking to those individuals who are the decision makers to understand how you feel as an individual. That doesn't necessarily mean that you might get the results that you're looking for, but you can sleep at night knowing that I've made peace with the things that I am dealing with. And let that individual know you're not being treated fairly. I remember I had a situation at my job where this lady who recently got hired felt like she could talk to me any kind of way. And I witnessed a situation where I was in a meeting with our business, our lawyers, because as I said, from a risk and compliance perspective, she talked down to me and I felt like it was humiliating. But as opposed to just shutting down, made sure she understood that it's unacceptable. And at the end of the day, she had to apologize because I feel like the difference between me and anybody may be just a title or a position. So you can be an executive in a firm. You have to make sure that you walk the value. So that person who feel like I am overlooked, you got to have a conversation. You have to face their fears. The only two things that can happen. You continue to be miserable or you deal with the situation at hand. And then that person who feel like, oh my God, I'm depressed. All hope is not gone. Maybe just take a look around you. When you begin to look around you, you will understand how blessed you are. There's somebody whose situation is worse than your situation. You do not have it so bad. You might think you have it so bad until you begin to look outside a little bit and see what other individuals are dealing with. So that, and then from a ministerial perspective, I'll say, see God. Because with God, all things are possible. All things are possible. He did not say some, he says all things are possible. I start my daily routine with a word of prayer. Before I get off bed, I ask God what it is that I need to do today. You are the author and finisher of my faith. So until you order my steps, I'll do nothing. And sometimes that's where we miss the point, because it's not about who we are, but it's about the maker. Because when God orders your step, obviously, he will put those things in place that concerns you. I could go on and preach, but I can tell people there are testimonies upon testimonies where things were impossible, but I saw God show up. He aligns resources. He says, I am the source. I hold the whole word in my hand. So if there's a job that you're looking for, if it's depression, or if it's your children that you're praying about, or your marriage, God can do anything. But a lot of times our priorities are misaligned. We put our faith and trust in the wrong things. And when those things begin to let us down, we don't know where to go. But when your faith is in the ultimate God, everything else may not always be good, but you'll find peace in knowing that God has you. He's going to take care of the things that concerns you. Yes. And that has been my primary core value for many of my successes.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Saya Docio. You know, I want to just encourage you to not just do half an hour with us, you know, talking. I look forward to us talking again, because I think, you know, the power of positivity is what Liberians and people around the world need right now. There's so many different things that are going on that I think just hearing you and you keeping people focused on their own abilities with faith added is inspirational. But I don't know, this 30 minutes thing is not good for me. So I'm just asking you to consider at least doing an hour, even doing your own show on this platform, but even be something to consider, because I think a lot of people We appreciate you. We have our next guest in the background. I'm just going to give you like maybe a few minutes, just kind of say your thoughts, your final words to Liberians, and then I can move on, and then you can let you go.
Thank you, thank you. Again, I want to appreciate the Spoon TV platform. This platform has become so powerful. And again, this goes back to the power possibility. I do believe maybe Stanton may have been thinking one of these days, how do I bring the word to Liberia and bring Liberia to the world? That was a seed that was sown in his spirit. And he decided to connect and bring the right people along. So again, back to the power possibility, everybody has some type of capabilities that have not been tapped into. But until you begin to identify that one thing that you have not developed and decide to determine who are the right resources that I need to bring along. Just like Jeremiah, when God told Nehemiah, he said, go and build a wall. It seemed so impossible, but there was a strategy. So to everything, there's a strategy in how you go about doing it. And that's what the power possibility is about. So I want to leave my audience. I want to challenge my audience. Find 2 or 3 things that you have been questioning yourself to do. Connect with me and let's walk into the power possibilities together. I will be able to share some of my tips, my successes, my challenges, and how to navigate through some of those things. Because God has commanded me at the end, he says, I want to see more people who believe in Jeremiah chapter 1, verse 5. I can do anything because God says, I know you before you were formed in your womb. And because he knows you, you can do anything. So again, people, please visit my website, click on connect, and let's talk on a personal level. I want to appreciate this platform again, and I'm excited about what the power possibility is going to do for the world, and I look forward to continuously evolving.
Thank you. If you're just joining us today, I want you to look. We have www.sayasio.com. That is scrolling along the platform here. And if you're in Radio Land, please write this down, www.sayasio.com. She is going to be presenting the power possibility on her platform. She's here to launch that platform. She's already launched the platform, but she's here to talk about it on Spoon. So I'm asking you to go there, reach out to her. Very powerful message for us today, Liberian. And Miss Docio, thank you so much for being here. Please come back. I'm sure we'll be talking.
Definitely will. I will be back. We are family. Thank you, Lorena. Appreciate you. And thank you, Dr. Francine. God bless you. And may God continue to increase and bless the works of your hands.
Amen. Thank you.
Amen.
Amen.
All right, Doc. So you people had a wonderful time. We have Mr. Chris Dennis of Dennis Immigration Services in Canada. He has been in the back. So I can bring him through now, right?
Yes, please bring him through. Chris, how are you? No stranger to Spoon, no stranger to me. But let me just tell people who are joining us. If you're just joining us, we're here we will be talking to Mr. Dennis. We just finished talking to Miss Docio. She was talking about the power of possibilities. Now we're going to switch our attention to the power of possibility, but in your immigration status here. We're going to be talking to Chris Dennis. He's the owner of Immigrants Sing, Dennis Immigration. He's here going to be talking to us about different possibilities. He's going to be looking at your issues and giving you ways to access him. So, Chris, how are you today? And how would you like to present yourself to the Liberian people?
Thank you so much, Dr. Francine, for Dr. Richardson, sorry, for having me here. Of course, the network I've been on a few times, so that's great. I appreciate that. And yeah, I'm doing well. I'm excited about the conversation today. As always, I always have passion for immigration and talk about immigration. having been an immigrant myself. So I'm excited to, engage and to see, enlighten people who are interested in coming to Canada, whether you are in the U.S. or anywhere around the world, to understand the processes and what to look for. So I'm excited to be here.
Yes, yes. And for the sake of transparency, I talked to Mr. Dennis on a different matter, and he, impressed upon me his excitement about this immigration process. So I just wanted to let you guys know, if you see me go into other conversations that we and I had, that's why. But Chris, and it's okay for me to call you Chris,
Sure,
right? Okay.
sure,
Can you just
absolutely.
tell us about the process? You've been doing this for a long time. Like you mentioned, you're an immigrant yourself, and so are a lot of us. So if I'm in a different part of the world, be it the US or be it in Liberia, I don't know which one you want to choose to walk us through first. Can you just walk us through making the first contact with you, calling your organization or calling you? And I'm sure that we're going to change the scroll a little bit very soon. But give us the information. We'll get in touch with you. I'm just going to say, we'll get in touch with Mr. Dennis here. What do we need to do? What's the next step? Walk us through that for us.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Richardson. So quickly there, I just wanted to, because a lot of the times that we engage with potential clients or even people who just want to understand what we do, I wanted to give a quick, 30 seconds, about myself, and then the
Yes, please
practice,
do. Please do. Please.
that I aim, because a lot of people are very worried, they're scared, they want to travel, but they're afraid of being scammed. They're afraid of being duped,
Mhm.
right? Some of which have also been scammed so many times, and it's something that concerns me. And I have reached out to other, individuals to see how we can continue this conversation about, people being scammed.
Mhm.
So I used to live in the United States, where I went to school
Yes.
in Minnesota, and being an immigrant and an international student there,
Mhm.
of course, it was difficult,
Mhm.
especially when you don't have status, and every day you worry about that.
Yes.
So I felt that I wanted to change the narrative for myself, because there were job opportunities that I could have gotten, but I,
Mhm.
I couldn't get those jobs because I didn't have the type of status. And some of the job would require, certain type of clearance that you need to have.
Mhm.
So, because of that, I got frustrated. And later on, I, decided to turn to Canada.
Mhm.
Being in the field of information technology, there are a lot of opportunities in that field for those who are in IT. I always applaud, everyone. But I wanted more. And how my reach could expand was to have a regular status as a resident, in order to do what I wanted to do. So I made that conscious decision to leave from the U.S. and come to Canada, to see how I can regularize my status, and that's what I did. I didn't think about whether there is a Walmart in Canada. I didn't think about whether it's a Target or J.C. Penney and all the different amenities. But I wanted to regularize my status, and I was very intentional about that. So
Mhm.
when I came to Canada, I went through the Canadian immigration system. It was difficult, but at the end of the day, I was able to get my status regularized, right? So because, I would say this with a grain of salt. I
Mhm.
felt that I wasn't treated, the way in which I thought I would have been treated. So it, eliminated my urge to study immigration law. I wanted to understand the law. I wanted to know, all of the intricacy about Canadian immigration law. So being an expert in information technology, I decided to go back to school, even though I didn't want to. But I decided to go to law school to understand Canadian immigration law,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I had that shift, went to law school, graduated, took the exams, passed, of course. I hate public tests, I was
Yeah.
panicked. But, based on the training that I got from some of my professors were immigration, officials that had been in immigration before, and lawyers, seasoned lawyers in Canada. These are people that taught me, right? So when I graduated, I decided that I will open my own law firm, and I want to also help others who are coming to Canada or who want to come to Canada, so that they don't have to go through some of the hurdles that someone like myself went through, right? So that's why I went to do immigration law.
Yeah.
And I do have a license to practice immigration law. I think my license number is on your
Yes.
screen, right?
Yes.
So when people who are coming through our doors, right, when they understand the legitimacy of what we do, it
Amen.
gives you a sense of comfort that I don't think I'm going to be scammed in this direction, because I think I'm in the right place, right? And I continue to tell, all of our friends out there, whether you're in the US or in Africa or Europe, you always want to do something and get it right the first time. Stop going to people who, I know we'll go into that later on, but I just wanted to establish, the level of legitimacy. Earlier on this morning, I was reading the comments on the Spoon Facebook page, and some people wrote, things like, this would be another 419. This will be another 418, scamming things. And I totally understand when people write comments like that. I'm a very objective person, and I like to analyze from all spectrum of what people are thinking, because a lot of people have gone through a significant amount of frustration when you take thousands of dollars and you pay someone to help you, and in the end you don't hear from the person, you get blocked, you never get to at the bottom of what you wanted to achieve. It becomes very frustrating. So when people see the same thing again in different forms, they're still panic, and the next thing is they're associating that with another scam. So I totally understand that.
Yeah.
So that was just the context of legitimacy. It's always good to do that.
Yes.
And in terms of practicing immigration law in Canada, kid you not, and our beautiful audience out there, you must have a license to practice immigration law in
Yes.
Canada. However, someone could help you with your application. But if someone is going to help you, that means you must not pay the person, right? Because anytime you pay someone to represent you, that person need to have you complete a form that we call, well, Canada Immigration call the use of representation form. That form is very important because it tells immigration that John Doe, or for an example, myself, Christopher Dennis is representing this client on this application. So immigration can communicate directly with you. So it's very important.
Yes.
But we'll talk
Yeah.
about that later on along the way.
And absolutely, Chris, I'm very thankful that you're here today to speak to people around the world. One of the things that you sort of brought up first was the issue of integrity and credibility, which you presented that head on, because you also acknowledge how many people they've been duped by different services. But yes, Mr. Dennis is legitimate. He can see his license number. He was open enough to put that up here. And so we're going to move on to talk about the services that he provides. You said something very interesting. You talked about living in the United States, and it's just the law here. It's not because it was just an isolated incident that happened to Mr. Dennis. You have to have credentials, like, when you graduate, you have to have work permit. Sometimes going to school, this school fee becomes, many times I get letters about, oh, I can't afford my school fee, they're going to drop me. Sometimes school confine the place that you have to work with. And what Mr. Dennis told us, that he could have handled that situation, but he decided that, hey, I'm going to be intentional about my life. I'm going to move to another system where I don't think I would have the same kind of hassled, in a way, for lack of a better word, if I want to put that way. So can you just tell us, when you move now, and what you're going to be doing? You're going to be helping people. This, like, I going back to my previous question to you.
Right.
Yes. When you make a transition to Canada, I called you, Mr. Dennis. I want to transition, whether I'm coming from the US or whether I'm coming from Liberia, I'm coming from Namibia, I come from Kenya. This is how widespread he is. He helps people. Okay. What do we need to do? Like, we make a contact with you. What do I need to do?
Well, so the very first step in any immigration process, you have to go through a consultation,
Yes.
right? Because when people come through our doors, most of the time they say, I want to come to Canada. I want to either go to school. I want to work. We're getting work a lot. It's just like going to the doctor and telling the doctor, well, I'm here, I'm not feeling well, so I need you to give me some malaria, treatment.
Mhm.
And the doctor is not going to do that. And that's the same with us. So I will not do that. So the very first step would be to have a consultation with you, because I need to understand a lot of background information about you as my client. I need to understand who you are, your education, whether you're married or single, or you're in a relationship that you're not married. Canada see that as common law relationship. Once you live with someone for at least about a year or more, you're a common law partner, which of course we do that in Africa a lot sometimes.
Yes.
Right. So we assess the clients based on what they're coming for. Some people say they want to come for conference. Some people want to come to just visit. Some people want to come to school. Some people want to come, different reasons.
Yes.
Right. But maybe the particular reason that you're coming to ask us about, you may not need to go through that route. There could be a better way to come to Canada, legitimately to come to Canada with a status, if you will, or that will propel you to obtaining a status in Canada, right? So we assess you, and at the end of the day, within 24 to 48 hours, we email you a recap of that conversation that we have. Because sometimes people will come and they just need some information, and they may not be necessarily ready at the moment. However, the way it will be, we will have to give you what we call a recap, a comprehensive recap, for you to know what we talked about. And you can have that after a week, 2 weeks, or a month, a few months down the road. You can always go back to that recap and understand and read and say, okay, so these are the things that I need to do. Here are the next steps in the process, where we recommend, the different pathways to you.
Sure.
Now, so once you do that, we do that consultation with you. It's tailored specifically of the information that we've gathered from you, right? And that's the reasons why we handle each client case differently, right? So what works for John today will not necessarily work for Paul or Peter, right? For an example, Dr. Francine wanted to move to Canada with her family, right? So you live in the U.S. Say, for an example, you want a temporary resident status, TPS maybe, or maybe you have no status in the U.S., right? So it's always best to have a consultation with us, because you could have some education from the US.
Mm-hmm.
You could have some education from back to your home country,
Mm-hmm.
and you could have significant work experience.
Mm-hmm.
For those who are in the nursing field, for an example,
Yes.
of course, Canada is open to, employing more nurses, or more healthcare worker, if you will, in
Yes.
in the workforce,
Yes.
right?
Can I hold you right there, Chris?
Sure,
And this is coming again. I was conversation seeping in. So we're talking about healthcare workers. We're talking about nurses. Sometimes we include psychologists, CNA. Like, would that be included as well? Like somebody who just have a certified nursing assistant certificate. Would that be something that you say?
Yes.
Okay.
So someone who is a CNA in the United States would
Mhm.
be comparable to a PSW in Canada,
Okay.
right? So if you're CNA, you've had at least about 6 months or more of work experience,
Mhm.
right? There are possibilities that you can, follow as long as you meet all of the other requirements and eligibility once we assess you, and you being a CNA, for an example, and may have lived in the US for so many years,
Mhm.
right? There are opportunities for you to move to Canada,
Mhm.
not just as a visitor, but you can move to Canada as a permanent resident, right?
Mhm.
So there is the new program that Canada have launched.
Okay.
Well, they actually have not launched that yet, but it
Yes.
will be launched on the
Mhm.
31st of March of this.
Mhm.
So that is called the new Caregiver Pilot Program.
Okay.
That program is specific to healthcare workers like CNA that we
Mhm.
talked about, that can come to Canada and work in Canada, live in Canada as a permanent resident, and bring your family along with you as well. Once
Mhm.
you meet all of the requirements and the eligibility factor. And I don't want to sound biased though, but this also applies to anyone who is across the globe.
Yes.
Someone who's in Liberia or in
Yes.
Africa, let's make it general, but
Yes.
in Africa or Europe,
Or in Europe, yeah, or Asia. You.
Asia, anywhere in the world, as long as you meet the eligibility factor. One of the things that we're just waiting for them to, for immigration to post the eligibility factors, because they haven't posted it yet. But what
Mhm.
we're doing at the moment, we're looking at 2024 eligibility factor and saying, well, I don't believe that the requirements will be that significantly different from what has been, going on in the past. So right now, a lot of clients are coming through. We're
Mhm.
preparing the application. We are gathering documents for them. So as soon as this program open and the eligibilities are available, then we will make some adjustment and quickly start to submit application, because a lot of people want to move and adjust the status.
Yes. So, and let me just ask this question. We've been to some degree brainwashed to everybody want to come to United States, and here it is. And it's so good sometimes when I'm talking to you, Mr. Dennis, to know that there's a whole nother world called Canada out there that people can move to and have a comparable, great, excellent, professional, non-professional life, right? Is that
Absolutely.
yes? Go ahead.
Yeah, so that is really great, because to be honest with you, I normally say, Canada and the US or any other country, they are almost the same. But
Mm-hmm.
what differs in terms of Canada
Mm-hmm.
is Canada is a country that's full of, multicultural, people from all over the world. So it's
Okay.
very difficult for you to go in the public and someone look at you and tell you go back to your country. It's very difficult.
Okay.
The ability to live in Canada and grow, expand your reach, whether
Mm-hmm.
your career or your family life, is great. You know, that's what makes Canada one of the greatest country in the world today, if you will. And I will say this with pride, because as a Canadian myself, even though being an immigrant, you know, I experience what happens here every day, right?
Yes.
Not negating the fact that there are other things that can happen, but when it comes to immigration, Canada is very intentional about how to roll out the immigration programs. And that was makes it different from other countries, right? Uh, if you look at, for an example, the trade skills, those who are in trades, right? You graduated from high school and you say, nope, I don't want to go to college or university. I will go to a polytechnic school. Or I'm just going to go and then learn how to become a mechanic from the garage next door. Or, you know, I want to become a plumber and I'm going to go and, you know, learn, you know, being an apprentice and subsequently learning the job and mastering the job, right? So those who are mechanics, you know, plumbers, electrician, mason, construction workers, you know, Canada is expanding so much to the extent that now Canada is expanding its reach in terms of skilled trades. People who drive trucks, heavy duty trucks. You're in the US, you're aware every day those trucks are moving from one state to another,
Absolutely.
and services to, you know, other people across the country.
Yes.
Canada needs people who are truck drivers, heavy duty, you know, machine operators, people who are, you know, in these industrial fields. And not only that, but people who are in IT, like the STEM program, you know, which is the high demand fields or careers now, you know, in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Those people are also needed in Canada. And you can come to Canada and you don't have to, you know, work under the table or hide. You can come to Canada as a permanent landed immigrant rather than doing it the wrong way.
Yes. When I see Lorena, she reminds me that we're running out of time. But I have one other question specific to Liberians, because although everyone around the world is listening, but we are Liberians. Every one of us on this show are Liberians. But if you're just joining us, you are speaking to Mr. Christopher Dennis. You can find him on WhatsApp. Make sure that you copy his name correctly. He's a licensed lawyer. He's an immigrant. He's been living in Canada for a long time. He is here to assist from a legal perspective. And also, you know, he's very kind and gentle, so he's not going to, you know, bite your head off. But he's here to legally support you who want to transition to Canada. And you don't have to be, like I was just talking to him, like you can be a United States citizen, but still have the desire to transition to Canada. You go see Chris. But his WhatsApp number is 1-226-260-9789. That is, if you're watching by Radio Land, his WhatsApp number is 1-226-260-9789. So, Mr. Dennis, my last question. So we got multiple populations of people in Liberia. Some people have family members that are here in the United States. For some reason, they can't apply for them, but they would like to be closer to their family member. So can we ask the family member to contact your website, which is www.dennisimmigration.ca. I will spell that out for you for those of you who are reading it. But can we contact you to give us some ideas as to how can I have my family move to Canada from Liberia? My family could be a student. It could be a woman working in the market right now. It could be someone that just looking for a better life, but they want to come to the United States. And then when they get to the United States, even though their family in the United States may be legal, but are they easy? Is there easy transit? If I want to see my family, you know, maybe that's one way of me seeing my family, getting closer to my family. How would you respond to that before we ask you to just give us some final words? And again, 30 minutes of conversation is not enough. Let me just tell you that right now.
Yes, I know. So I just wanted to make sure that I made some quick correction.
Oh, yes, please do.
Right, because so when I went to law school, I wanted to understand only Canadian immigration law and
Yeah,
not practicing criminal law or any kind of law, right?
correct.
So that does not make me a lawyer.
Okay.
Okay. I know you mentioned, I'm a lawyer, but I just like to make sure that I correct,
Thank you.
certain
Thanks for
things.
the
And
correction. Yes.
so I'm a regulated Canadian immigration consultant. That
Okay.
means I can represent anybody who's coming on a visa, whether permanent resident or temporary resident,
Thank you.
or those who are already in Canada that applying for refugee status. I can represent individuals at the Immigration Refugee Board. I can represent, refugees as and also the Refugee Appeal Division. And
Mhm.
then I can, if someone is in detention, for an example, I can go and represent them.
Awesome.
So that's where my license usually stop. Of course, I have one of the highest license when it comes to representing clients immigration wise.
Thank you
I
for that.
always tell people when you
You
work
see,
hard,
man, integrity and credibility is coming out right now. He's telling you that you're not owning nothing that is not his. He's
right?
telling you about his experience. Yes.
Yes,
Thank you. That's an ethical thing to
it-
do.
it's a good thing, and that's what we talk about all the time, you and I, when we have to talk, a few
Mhm.
times.
Mhm.
But yeah, so back to your question. So if someone who is in the US and would like to sponsor the relative to come to Canada, or if they went to Canada on a visit, maybe they wanted to come to Canada, of course, yes, you can reach out. We'll be more than happy to work with you. Dr. Francie, I just wanted to close. I know you guys ate my time. Lorena already told me, you guys will give me back. So that's great later on.
Yes, it's 2:13 already, so we give
I
you.
know.
Yeah.
But I wanted to quickly summarize, fraud, scam, and all these things. And it's very important that, our listeners, really listen to this, and this is something that, I will personally, I know that I've reached out to the IGP, and we had a program. He was busy, so he couldn't go. He apologized, but we will be having some more conversation with them, because it's very, very frustrating. Dr. Francie and Lorena, we talk about this. When people pay thousands of dollars
Mhm.
and they get scammed, what happens? Prosecution needs to happen. People need to take responsibility of the action that they take. And also in the same vein, if you're going to someone and asking them to provide service for you, not necessarily Dennis Immigration, you
Mhm.
have to be extremely careful,
Mhm.
because sometimes you're aware that you're participating in a fraud, but you play, how do they call it? A blind eye
Dumb ear. Yeah.
to
No,
that. But until there is a problem, and then you cry about it. People pay money to those who are doing these visa stuff for them, right? They have list of documents. I will do bank statements for you. I will do job letters for you. I will do, this and that for you. People come to them and pay them a
Mm.
few $100s to
No.
make a bank statement that looks or resemble a 20 grand or 30 grand bank statement, and
No.
to you, and you thank the person, you appreciate the person, and the words you tell them, God will bless them in everything that they're doing. And you're aware that you don't even have a bank account.
Uh-oh. What's going on? We lost Chris for a second. He was making a good point
Yeah. I
about
thought it's end. It's not
yes,
from our.
yes, it is from his end because we are both
He has a call coming in or something.
yes, yes. But I'll just if you just join us, thank you for joining us. Please share the show. We're talking to Mr. Chris Dennis. His website is www.dennis DENNISIMMIGRATION Canada, CA. So I will say that again, www.dennis, DENNISIMMIGRATION, DennisImmigration.ca, www.dennisimmigration.ca. So he was just talking about reaching out to him to get help in transitioning to Canada. We've been taught, almost all our life, United States is where everybody wants to come. But he's saying that he went to law school in the United States to be able to support you coming to Canada. Chris, you are here. Do you want to say a last
Yeah,
few words?
yeah. Let me just wrap up.
Yes,
What
yes.
I
Let
was
me know
just
what
saying.
happened to you.
It appears like the scammers didn't want me to say this one thing.
Yes, yes, that's
I know you guys gotta go, but
Mhm.
yeah, you have to be careful, guys. Of course, one of the things that I would never, ever, ever, ever do in my practice. I spent thousands of dollars to go to law school. If I wanted to have to scam someone, why should I go to school to do that? Right?
Why should you pay a license up here either?
Why should I get a license? Do you see the license number that you see on your screen? That is something that I will protect,
Absolutely.
and nobody would ever make me to play double dutch to lose my license. I'm not doing that.
That's
Dr.
correct.
Francine, the work that you do, you have license and
Yes,
things. You understand
I understand.
how the
Work
crystal
hard.
glass that we have around these licenses, right? So
Mhm.
I'm just saying to people, to conclude, be careful on what you're doing and pay attention to details. You have to read the information. Anytime you see anything that says it's a guarantee, I will guarantee you visa.
Mm,
I will guarantee you work. I've
mm,
done it for people before.
mm.
If the person don't have a license, no licensed regular Canadian immigration consultant will ever have
Mhm.
an mediator or a second party for the person to gather even a client document, because we have confidentiality in this whole process. So for me, I am never going to have someone say, "Oh, I'm working with someone in Canada who would do everything for you." I am not doing that. My
What's your
client
name?
confidentiality is very important. So when people tell you, those are signs that you have to pay attention to. When someone tell you, "Well, I'm working with the people in Canada," tell them, "I want to talk to that person that is going to be doing my work or representing me. I need the license number. I need to go and check that."
Mhm.
Our license is public, it's on the public registry, so it's
Mhm.
not anything hidden. But it was a very short but really sweet conversation here, and I hope that the viewers would really pay attention to this. A lot of people say, they say, somebody say. Don't let it be a they say information for you.
Mhm.
You have access to the internet. It's right in the palm of your hands.
Yes.
What do you say? That means you've gone, you've done your research, you've checked, and then you're satisfied, so that you're not lying in your bed and you're worried that my money that I spent yesterday, am I going to see the guy tomorrow? As a professional like myself, I will never call you to check on you, how you doing today and how your family, oh, you got to hurry up. That's not what we do. No professional does that. The
No.
scammers are the ones that will be checking on you, hurry up and pay and stuff like that. When we send you the service agreement, we're done. We will check on you, follow up, but that will be maybe 3-4 weeks if we didn't hear from you. Our senior administrative assistant legal assistant will reach out, but not me. I'm not, chasing, clients to say you must have to come. No, the scammers will do that. Guarantee of service in my last 30 seconds.
Mhm.
Guarantee of service. We don't guarantee nobody the outcome of your visa application, because remember, I'm an immigration professional and I'm not a visa agent, right?
That's right.
sorry, not visa agent, but immigration officer, right?
Mhm.
So only an immigration officer will be the one to tell you, I will give you a visa, and you believe it. Of course, they will not tell you that because they have to examine your application, see the credibility of your application, making sure that there is a genuine application here, and they will make the final decision or outcome. But I thank you so much for giving myself and your viewers the opportunity so that we can engage. I know you guys want us to do a 1 hour, but hopefully we'll schedule another time. But I
Sure.
thank everybody for listening. And if you need to check up our service, please, guys, when you go to dennisimmigration.ca, you can read information. We have the FAQ page. You can, there are a lot of questions there that will help you as well. And we'll be more than happy to, working with you guys in the future.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Chris, for coming and speaking to people around the world, including Liberians. It's been a pleasure. Again, I want to say if you reach out to Mr. Dennis, his number is 266-260-9789. And as he advised, go to Chris Dennis Immigration Service, right? Did I say that right?
Well, that is Immigration by Dennis Immigration Services.
That's right. And to reach out to him. So if you're looking to transition to Canada or to go to Canada, he's the person. And I've done some other contacts with him, and it's been very good. His credibility, integrity stands strong. So thank you so much. I see that our producer, Lorena, already give me some signs. Already, Lorena, I'll hand the show back to you. Let me take my break. Bye-bye. I'll take my break, and then I'll go. I know we ran ahead of time, went into some other shows, but it's okay. Thank you for joining us. Please share the show. It was good being here today. I'll see you guys in about an hour and a half. Bye, everybody.
Bye, Doc.
Bye. Bye, Lorena.
Bye-bye. So many thanks to Dr. Richardson and, of course, Mr. Chris Dennis. They're telling you about your own chance to go to Canada. Of course, he said that he can't guarantee you that yes, there's a visa, but just make sure and know and understand that he is legit. My name is Lorena Honoré. Next time you get on Phone Talk Business, it's going to be next week, Friday, same time, right here on Spoon 107.5 FM. We're also live on Fabric TV, Super TV, and of course on Fabric 101.1 and across other platforms in Liberia. Our YouTube handle is Spoon Talk Live. So many thanks to all of the radio stations in the various counties that also share all of the shows going on Spoon TV. You are highly appreciated. Until next week, have a wonderful weekend.